Hi, welcome to Team PI Pokemon. What we're going to do today is we're going to be just having a very quick analysis and discussion on the new Pokemon that's just been revealed in Japan. It's Silvally-Gx. It's a stage 1, so it evolves from its basic. It's a colourless type and it's 210 HP, so nice and beefy. The ability on Silvally-Gx is Gyro unit. As long as this Pokemon is in play, all of your basic Pokemon have 0 retreat cost. It's a fantastic attack as well. Triple colourless. Turbo Drive, 120 damage, very important to have lots of damage on that first attack. Attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. And Rebellion GX for 50 damage times the number of your opponent's benched Pokemon. You can't use more than one GX attack per game, of course. The weakness on it is fighting. It doesn't have a resistance and it has a 2 retreat cost. So an incredibly versatile GX. I think that this is going to have quite a bit of impact on the metagame. You just need to try and find yourself a single slot, but I think the plus points are going to actually be brilliant. So let's just break it down. So it's a colourless attack. Definitely splashable in any deck, so no matter what type you have of basic energy, you can place it in there. The ability is free retreat for all basics, so what could this have as an impact on decks? Well, currently decks have maybe a 2 to 3 count of Floatstone. That could be dropped very easily to make room for a 1/1 Silvally-Gx. Definitely think it's good enough for a permanent slot in most decks. It's got an excellent attack. It's like as if it's a boosted up, beefed up version of Mind Jack as a GX attack. So it punishes your opponent for benching a lot of Pokemon very early on, especially with mechanics like Bridget being very popular. The energy cost of attack can be powered up by DCE very easily. It's not rotating out of the format, unlike Double Dragon Energy. You can use it as a push, although the triple colourless attack may not be ideal as an energy accelerator right at the very beginning. Perhaps this actually could hint towards how to use it. You could use something like Kiawe as your first turn energy accelerator after you attach energy to the basic of Silvally-Gx, and then go from there. Right, let's move on to cards that benefit. Cards that benefit definitely are Guzma. So if you play your Guzma and you play your Lysander-esque effect, you bring out Pokemon from your opponent's bench, you may be finding it very difficult to play that Guzma at that time because of your own Pokemon. Now, if you've got a basic centered deck with some retreat costs, it's very easy. It just goes back. So interesting. It's like a warp point-esque type attack, and you can actually just attack with your active Pokemon straight away. I think Guzma is going to be a card that really benefits from it. Decks that benefit, well, just to make a start on this, it's incredible how much Volcanion gets out of this. Now, Volcanion can only attack with its 130 attack just the once, and then what you need to do is you need to reset the attack. So if you actually have something on the bench, another basic, and you just play your Silvally-Gx down, if you play your Guzma, you can actually bring that back and then bring back your original attacker. That's absolutely brilliant. Darkness decks, I think Darkrai is going to be really benefiting from this. Again, you know, you've got 2 retreat costs for each of the Darkrai's. It could take precedence over Altar of the Moon. I've seen Darkrai decks playing maybe 2 to 3 Altar of the Moon to try and get round and swarm with Darkrai's. So Darkrai would definitely be a nice inclusion. You got electric decks. Now, not too many electric decks at this moment in time in the format, but I'm sure it's not going to be too long before we actually see some energy acceleration type decks with lightning. If that's the case, I think this would actually be really well suited for it. Lapras GX. Now, Lapras GX, 3 retreat costs on the Lapras GX, very heavy, very difficult for you to actually swarm. You're very committed with Lapras GX if it's actually if it's actually active. I think it's a perfect partner for Lapras, and doesn't have too bad an attack to back up a Lapras as well. You've got only one disadvantage. If you play it in Lapras, you can't benefit from anything like Aqua Patch. I think decks that feature Drampa GX, Taurus GX, Tapu Bulu GX, even Wishy Washy GX. Who knows? We might actually see a viable Wishy Washy GX attack. If we actually have a look at the attacks from Wishy Washy. And I've just placed all of the Pokemon that I'm mentioning right now on PTCGO. So have a pause of the video whenever you want to, and you can actually flick through each of these. Wishy Washy GX's attack is move all energy from this Pokemon to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. So what you could do is you could do Blue Surge, and then you could just retreat for free and then attack with your next Pokemon. Let's have a look at some other cards that benefit. Dragonite EX might actually start to see a little bit of a spike in play because of your 3 retreat cost. It's not too bad a drawback now. I think Dragonite GX may not necessarily benefit from Skyfield anymore, but it is definitely something that could be used in play to recycle your EX Pokemon. So minor benefit with Dragonite EX. I like Dragonite EX because it actually has colourless attacks too. Snorlax GX, you got the 4 retreat cost on there. You can actually energy accelerate to create Thunderous Snore or Collapse, or even sweep with Pulverizing Pancake if your opponent decides not to bench that many Pokemon. I think Taurus GX has fallen off the wayside at this moment in time, as people don't like to play it because of its 3 retreat costs. It's just a little bit of a liability. However, with Guzma does help at this moment in time. But I'm also thinking that Taurus does have a slight placement at this moment in time, just as a slight soft counter to Gardevoir GX. Gardevoir GX does have to have a lot of energy in order to one-hit KO Taurus. Wouldn't be surprised to not see Taurus GX in any way, shape or form in the World Championships, just as a soft counter. But I think with the 3 retreat costs, it's very, very difficult to retreat your Taurus GX. So bring it back with your Silvally-Gx. I think it's going to be great. Have mentioned Darkrai already, but just for formality's sake, here are the attacks from Darkrai EX. So obviously, you want to try and have just 2 energy on your Dark Pulse. If that receives some damage, you want to try and keep it in play. You don't want to pay that retreat cost. You just want to bring it back to your bench and attack with another one. There's your Darkrai GX. It's got Dark Cleave, 130, nice little softener, and it's great for restoration as well. 2 retreat costs. Again, you want to try and retain the energies on there as much as possible. Here's an interesting one. I believe that Tyrantrum is going to be still in the format after post-rotation. Despotic Fan was always very difficult to get around. It's 190. And no effects can actually block that damage on your opponent's Pokemon. And I quite like the fact that even though you've got 2 energy types, I think it might be viable to actually have Silvally-Gx accelerate onto Tyrantrum GX, soften up your opponent's targets, and then you can just start to sweep with Tyrantrum EX. 3 retreat costs, not a problem at all with Silvally. So you can actually start to see that Silvally-Gx will benefit a whole host of different types of archetypes out there. Zygarde, 3 retreat costs, again it's a basic, again it will benefit. Turtonator, 3 retreat costs, again it will benefit, so you could just plug that Shell Trap Turtonator out there, just keep that plugging away at your opponent using Steam Up from Volcanion, and then you can just retreat it when you need to. Did mention Volcanion. Volcanion's quite difficult as a starter. Yeah, it's great if you've done your power heaters. How do you actually bring it back and maybe retain an option for Steam Artillery later on in the game? Well, Silvally-Gx will actually help solve that issue. I think Tapu Bulu is quite interesting because if you played Nature's Judgment and discarded all of your energy and you don't have the Float Stone, it's very, very difficult to bring it back up again and energize it. But it's got a 3 retreat cost. Again, what you could do is you could switch into Silvally and then energy accelerate straight into that if your Vicavolts are not online. Now, here's some really, really strange choices, maybe. But I think it could actually make Venusaur EX viable. Venusaur EX was actually reprinted in Evolution, so it is out there. I do like Mega Venusaur EX with its Crisis-esque attack. It's a paralyze and poison. It really does stop your opponent in the middle of their game. But the problem always with Venusaur was to try and get enough energy on with Jungle Hammer being your preferred attack for the basic EX. It's very, very difficult as well if you're playing Venusaur EX to actually retreat it, but Silvally-Gx should actually form quite a bit of a monster with that. I had a look at Glalie-Gx. Glalie-Gx is quite interesting. It's got a great stall type attack for Ice Breath, just a water, but it does have a 3 retreat cost. What your opponent could do is they could Guzma a benched Glalie-Gx, and it's very, very difficult to then start to put the energies on the Pokemon that you actually really want to. I like the idea of combining Glalie-Gx with Aqua Patch, and Judge would not necessarily be a problem at all to ensure that you have the same number of cards in your hand as your opponent. The attack will do 150 damage. I think with the energy acceleration from Silvally-Gx, I think there is real potential for Glalie to make a comeback. So I do like that one. Highlighted Gyarados-EX. Gyarados does have a 4 retreat cost. I think Glalie-EX just simply reduces that retreat cost. I think Stormy Seas is not a bad starter to go with. It's popular definitely in seniors and juniors. Look out for that one. And now I'm going to move on to problems and issues. What I'd like to do before I start thinking about Silvally-Gx, I'd like to make sure that the rulings go. So this is actually a ruling that most recently. I'm not too sure how the rulings sit with Mount Lanakila and how it would interact with Silvally-Gx. So Silvally-Gx causes a reduction to 0 of the retreat cost. Now, does the retreat cost of the basics then go up by 1? Does that mean to say that it goes to 0 and then +1? Or does the retreat cost of each basic Pokemon in play go up by 1 first through Lanakila and then go down to 0 through Silvally-Gx? That's probably the first question that I would want to ask. If there are any judges out there, anyone that may know some past rulings that might interact and work with, and please do leave a comment. I'm probably going to have a look at some of the rulings with Team Aqua's Hideout and see whether I can get anything from there. But if you do have a more recent ruling on that, just please let me know by adding to the comments. I'd be really interested to find out. I think Parallel City would be quite interesting. That could actually start to spike in play, because if you're securing a Silvally-Gx on your bench, if it's quite prominent, then you only have 2 other slots to develop your Pokemon. And we're thinking about the blue side, where you can't have more than 3 benched Pokemon in play. I think if Silvally-Gx really does pick up in the way that I believe it will, we might actually start seeing Parallel City. So if you've got the City Championship branded ones, hang on to those. And we've also mentioned Guzma. Guzma is going to be quite an important card anyway in the format, so people may not necessarily think that slotting maybe a 1-1 or a 2-2 Silvally-Gx may be worth it, because you've got Guzma anyway to retreat if you've actually got some difficulties with your active Pokemon, your active basic Pokemon. Your opponent may actually just sort of gust up something entirely different, might gust up your Silvally-Gx. So there are some alternatives out there. Maybe if you wanted to try and work the strategy right now, you could just try popping in the Tapu Koko promo into your deck and play Guzma with it, and just get an interesting idea as to how strong the strategy will be once Silvally-Gx come out. But that's about it. It's going to be released in the Sun and Moon 4 set, Awoken Hero and the Transdimensional Beast. There are other Pokemon that have been revealed in some of the boosters. Pikachu is definitely featuring in there, Oranguru, Corphish, Registeel and Cincino, and it's going to be a really interesting set that's going to be coming out, especially with these new Pokemon with these abilities. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe to our channel, like this video and share it, and comment if you can, especially if you've got some more recent ideas about the interactions between Lanakila and the forthcoming Silvally-Gx. Thank you very much. Enjoy playing Pokemon, and bye for now.